Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Maggie and Ferocious Mondays. Today, we will be reviewing our second segment in the sixth episode of Maggie and the Ferocious Beast, Season 1, Episode 6B, Beastly Picture. In this episode, Maggie paints a wonderful portrait of the Beast. When the Beast accidentally ruins the painting, he attempts to paint a replacement himself, but finds it very difficult to paint with his big beastly paws. Now, this episode, I really do like it, and I also like its message, and it just shows you that though Beast may be always happy all the time when it comes to certain tasks, like everyday things, everyday activities that other people do that aren't his size or his species, he can not only feel left out, but also feels very insecure because, well, once again, it's like this episode, I feel like it's a mix between Walk the Walk and Pack Up Your Troubles. Pack Up Your Troubles because it has a lot of the same concepts, with the dream sheep and Maggie's painting being ruined, and Walk the Walk is a Beast's clumsiness messing up something of somebody else's. Like in Walk the Walk, he messed up Sidestep's house. In this episode, he messed up Maggie's painting. And you really feel bad for the Beast, especially things that he says where he says, I can't help it, I'm a ferocious beast. Like, he says that a lot. And like the episode, you see him struggling, like to hold a paintbrush, he breaks it. To hold a crayon, he breaks it. Tipping over the paint, he didn't need to. Trying to wipe off the red smudges he made, but tears a hole in the canvas. He does this on 2 occasions. Well, I think 3 with his horns. But you feel so bad for him. And I like Hamilton trying to help him out while he's holding the big mirror. He's holding the mirror, and along with that, he has his little beret on. And I also like the beginning when Maggie was like, give me your most ferocious smile. And then I like because I like at the beginning where he's like trying to find the perfect ferocious face for himself, and that kind of comes to show he was struggling to find a ferocious face for himself, because most of the time he's not really ferocious, but he does call himself a ferocious beast. But when he does get ferocious, he does get ferocious. I will say that. He does get ferocious. When it's time for him to get ferocious, he will flip the switch and put on his ferocious face like there's no tomorrow. And I really like I also like, and there was a scene that really took me back to my childhood, not with this episode, but back in back in daycare when it came to arts and crafts, because what Beast did, he took some fruits from a tree and he squished them up to make the red spots because he spilled all the red paint. Who remembers having fruits or vegetables, mostly potatoes or apples, being cut up to make designs on the paper, like stamps? Who remembers that? Because I remember doing that, and that was so much fun. I remember that from my childhood. That was one of my favorite things to do in our class. I loved doing that so much. I really did. And then when it and then when Hamilton was trying to hold up the mirror, he was like, it'll be a lot easier if you figured out what your own face looks like. I mean, that's kind of, on one hand, that's kind of funny. He doesn't see his face one at the time, but that's also kind of sad because, like, for somebody who's ferocious and a fun-loving fellow, he doesn't see his own face most of the time. And that's kind of sad because that's kind of dark to think about, because I mean, how would it be for you if if you were surrounded by no mirrors whatsoever and you didn't even know what you looked like, and you had to take a good look at your face for like a good couple of minutes? That's kind of dark to think about, to be honest. That is a dark thought. And I like it when Maggie came back, the two of them were trying to stall. Like Hamilton was like, aren't you hungry? And then he gives her a pumpkin muffin, and then she was like, I'll eat it while I'm painting. And then Beast tries to stay in front of the portrait, and then he sadly had to give in and move away. And Maggie and the voice of and the voice of Maggie, she was like so distraught. She was like, "What happened?" Because of her picture had a big hole in it and had red smudges all over it. And then he was like, and Beast came clean. He said, "I messed up your portrait." And I felt so bad for him. I mean, yes, he told the truth, but at the same time, like, his clumsiness was the whole cause of this whole situation. And even though Maggie wasn't mad at him, which I'm happy she wasn't, you still feel bad for Beast. Like, like the guy can't go through one day without doing at least one thing clumsy, and that's kind of sad, you know? I mean, we all have our clumsy moments, but when it comes to this guy, I'll bet you a, I'll bet you a gumball that he has at least one clumsy moment a day, which is honestly kind of sad, you know? It's kind of sad. But what matters is that he gave Maggie the portrait that he made in replacement, and she had liked it. And Beast insists that Maggie should keep it, and she was like, "Oh, I couldn't." But luckily, Maggie Maggie said in return, he she can the Beast can keep the one that the Beast can keep the one that she's gonna make for him up. She insists that she's gonna make him a brand new portrait, and she'll keep the one that Beast made for her. And at the end is so cute. He said, "Will it be just as ferocious as the old one?" And then she said, "Of course. After all, you are a ferocious beast." And that scene at the end where they're giggling and laughing and hugging each other, just come on, man. Those two have an adorable friendship. They have an adorable friendship. You can't tell me otherwise. They go so good together. I'm telling you. And I also like the episode's message, you know? I'm gonna get pretty in depth here. It kind of does show you, you know? Even when Beast went through all that try and error, he still made the picture his own. Which I'm thinking to myself that the message of this episode is secretly implying that you don't have to make things your own. You don't have to copy somebody else's work because you're impressed by their work. You could still be impressed by their work and still get inspiration from their work. But as long as you make it your own, there's no right or wrong way to make a masterpiece, you know? And I'm going to get pretty in depth here myself, personally. For those who don't know, my best friend, who I talked about a lot on this channel, she makes a lot of comics. And when I first saw her pictures and comics and stuff, I was so intrigued by them. And I try to make things not like copyright, like copying. No, I'm sorry for the helicopter. I try to at least get some inspiration from her, but it didn't turn out the way I wanted. Everything I made, just like I scrapped it, went into the garbage. But then I reminded myself, you know, she made these comics her own way because she knows what she likes. She doesn't know art because we all don't know art. We all love to do art, not just know art because we know art. We love to do art because a certain piece of art is special to ourselves, our personality. It can connect to our life purpose, our creativity that God gave us on this earth. And you know, after learning that lesson, I started making arts and abstracts all to myself because they were special to me. I didn't have to I didn't want to make art. I didn't have to make art just to copy somebody, just to show that I'm just as good as them. I wanted to make art because it would be special, because I wanted to make something that's special to me. And if that's what secretly the episode is implying on its message, I love it. It's really fun. It's really sweet. And honestly, this was a really good episode. And I like it. I really do like it. Beast still went through all that trial and error to make himself, to make a replacement picture for his friend. But even in the end, Maggie still reminded him that he's still an artist, no matter what. Even if you're a ferocious beast, you can still make a masterpiece of an artwork. So, I'm going to give this episode a solid 9. I really do like its takeaway message, and I felt so bad for Beast, but in the end, he still gets his hurrahs in his flowers because he was still able to make art. Even if it wasn't art in Maggie's way, it was art in his own special way. And I couldn't ask for more, you know? So I'll give this episode a 9. And I really like it. I really do. So, tune into our next episode as we'll be reviewing our last segment, Season 1, Episode 6C, The Push Me Popper. See you all next time. Great, googly moogly.